know that we'll be done in a half hour, but we'll be done. We'll
Yeah.
be done before an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean, it's Friday afternoon, right?
Yeah, you got to hit the town.
Yeah. If there's been a fault in Bible colleges across the nation, it's been in not being able to figure out that piece of where particularly in restoration model churches, I would say, to figure out where that piece is, where the academy and the church fit together. This is a very awkward way to start a conversation, especially when you're looking at each other over the top of a mic stand, right?
It's very, hey, Darryl.
Yeah.
You can kind of see over there.
So as I started to talk to you twice about and have been interrupted both times, Teresa and I were on our way in, and we were talking about the fact that you and I have known each other in a lot of different ways over the course of the years, because what I was saying to her was, and I hope you take this just exactly the way I mean it, I think this new position that you've taken as Associate Director of Church Services you're just blossoming into it. It seems to me like every role that you've had, you've approached it with responsibility and gusto. But this role definitely seems to be one that you're excited about and that you're really enjoying it. So, I mean, when I first got to know you, you were a student, but there was other connections too, because I knew I guess Jennifer's your aunt, is that right?
Jennifer Reynolds.
Yeah, so Jennifer Reynolds and some of that branch of the family went to Prairie Hill, where I was preaching before I even started teaching here. Yeah. And so I knew the Reynolds name through that. And then when I got here, of course, your dad has been associated with the college for a long time. So you've had a lot of family association with the college, right?
My parents graduated in 1994. And I was born in 1996. So
did they meet here?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They did. All right. I don't know the whole story, but I probably should figure that out.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So did he go right into a ministry after he had
so he grew up in Cairo.
Yeah.
And he ended up at a church, I think it was just outside of Quincy, Illinois, a real small church. And once I was born, they moved pretty quickly out of that to Burnside Christian Church in Burnside, Illinois. And so I spent the first, it would have been 11 years of my life at Burnside Christian Church.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, lots of good memories with that church.
Wow. So did you always know you wanted to be involved in ministry? Or
yeah, in some way or another. I think it was sort of inevitable that I end up in ministry. I was super involved with youth groups, church camps, stuff like that. And, when I was in middle school, I think is when I officially had my call to ministry. It was at Camp McComey, just north of Eldon, Missouri, kind of in between Eldon and Jefferson City.
Right.
And the theme of the camp was called Destinations. And it was just talking about how everyone you meet is on a destination. I mean, at the end of the day, it was they're going to go to heaven or they're going to go to hell.
Right.
And so that, as I was in middle school, but that just kind of stuck with me because it's like there's no middle ground. You can't be indifferent. You have to make a decision, and you have to put yourself on the destination that's going to lead you to the right place. And so I kind of felt in that moment that I was going to end up in ministry in one way or another. So, and my parents came here super involved with the college. It was inevitable that it ended up at Central. So I was really good friends with Adam Fincher.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were always up in Moberly doing stuff. We would end up at the college. And so just kind of felt like that it was going to be a good place for me to head to after high school.
Wow. Now, I tried to look back and see, and I didn't remember, but what year did you come to as a student?
Yeah, so I started in fall of 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
So I probably had you. Can you remember what classes I had you where I was your professor? And
Yeah, definitely Greek.
Okay.
Which I have a story about. We'll get into that
Okay.
later.
All right.
But
were you in my Christian discipleship class?
So I had one with I think Harper taught my Christian discipleship class,
Okay.
actually.
All right.
But I had you for practical ministries.
Okay. That was a fun class.
Yeah.
I still remember that class.
That was a good class.
Yeah.
I wrote my wedding and funeral speech.
Yeah.
I haven't had to use them,
Yeah.
but that's all right. I will someday, I hope. But,
Yeah.
so I had you for that. And then I actually started with Greek Essentials because I didn't know how much I was going to like Greek.
Right.
So I took Greek Essentials, and I was a Bachelor of Science at the time. And back then, it was the arts degree was the language degree, and the science was we'll call it the WIMP degree because I didn't want to learn the biblical languages as much. But I took Greek Essentials. I loved it.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn more about Greek, and so I switched my major. I think I not only switched from youth ministry, but I also switched from youth ministry to preaching too. And I made that shift I was a Bachelor of Science in youth ministry, and then I just shifted over to Bachelor of Arts in preaching.
Okay.
So that was a pretty big moment in my academic career.
Yeah.
So
then you took. So I had you in Greek Essentials, obviously, and then elementary Greek, intermediate Greek, Greek analysis.
I think I took analysis with Dr. Stevens.
Okay, all right.
I know he.
And then exegesis. Did I have you for?
I
exegesis?
didn't do. I might. Yes, I did exegesis. There was the higher level one I didn't do. I think it was analysis.
Okay, all right.
So I took Greek exegesis with Stevens.
Okay.
And then I didn't do Greek
all right.
analysis.
That's probably true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But then we were connected more because you were an RA at that time, and so I've been involved in student development for most of my years here. And I remember you were an RA, and then you not only came in as a camp team member, I think between your I think, did you do camp team 3 years?
Yes. I'm still trying to get caught up on sleep.
So you did it between your freshman and sophomore year, and then you came back and did it between your sophomore and junior year.
Yeah.
And then what we did, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you came back to do it as your senior year, we turned that into an internship experience. Isn't that right? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so I did 3 years of camp teams, and my first summer, they were all good summers, and they challenged me in different ways. But you never think that camp teams was kind of, when you had to decide what to do with your summer. By that third summer, camp teams was almost the easy thing to do because I was used to the unpredictability that came with it, and I kind of knew what the flow was and all that. So in a lot of ways, I kind of took, what came natural to me was, when I'm with summers at Central, I do camp teams. So it was just kind of turned into an internship, and it gave me a lot of good administration skills and kind of started me on that path.
I think one of the things, Teresa and I led camp teams for either 3 or 4 years. I don't remember how many years we did it, but one of the things that I really enjoyed about, there's parts of camp team that you just do because it's there, the organization and the scheduling and all of that kind of stuff. But I always felt like the leadership potential and the leadership training that was just a natural part of helping people prepare for and participate in camp teams was just phenomenal. And that's where I thought you really stood out and shone as you did that, because we required a lot of our camp team leaders.
Yeah.
I imagine, I don't remember any specifics, but I'd be surprised if there wasn't a time or two that you didn't have to have a hard conversation with somebody on one of the teams or something of that nature.
I remember there was one time specifically when I told you, hey, I need you to equip me to have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
So we talked for a little bit on what we needed to do. And then you just set me loose. And that felt really good, because it was like I had you in my corner who was telling me, this is what we need to say, this is what we need to do. Yeah. And then just being able to do that, I really don't think that I've anywhere else I could have got those skills to those good ministry skills.
That was fun. Well, it was fantastic. Before we get too far down the road, though, because that will lead into your next experience that we had with you after you left the school and then came back. But you said you had a Greek story. I got to hear this Greek story.
I need to tell you about how I met my wife.
Oh, okay. All right. So Trish, your wife, right?
Yeah, my wife, Trisha, at the time, Arbeiter. But so we both took Greek, or it was elementary Greek.
Okay.
And I was great at Greek. Like it was natural to me. She, not so much. She probably should have been the Bachelor of Science person that just did the essentials because she needed a lot of help.
Okay.
So, man, I was there to help her. And so it was really selfless of me finding this young lady in distress and just like, hey, do you need help with that? So we started studying together and getting to know each other. And she also did camp teams my second year, and that was a really big moment. We were actually, it was the fish fry at Prairie Hill. We actually had a conversation there. Something along the lines of, hey, if we're both single in 10 years,
wow,
we should get married. And
so that was right at the beginning of the camp team experience, right?
That was
when we
part
did
of the
Prairie
training
Hill,
week,
right?
I think.
Yeah, it was.
I think I actually preached that Sunday too, but
you did. I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I basically told her, no, I don't want to marry you. Because I didn't know her at the time, and I think this was actually before Greek, and so just that was kind of the conversation. It's like, I don't really know this person. I'm not really comfortable saying that, but it's like you kind of think about it after. He's like, she's kind of an interesting person. Maybe I should get to know her a little bit, and so Greek gave me the opportunity to kind of get to know her a little bit more. So she didn't come back for intermediate Greek, but we obviously stayed connected. So.
Elementary Greek, though, was when you guys really started dating. Is that?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we would have started dating October of 2017.
Okay,
and then we were married by August of 2018.
Really?
So we just kind of knew. That our lives were going to be good together. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that at least one of you appreciated Greek too. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I miss those days.
And I also miss. We no longer do the Greek Essentials class. We transitioned the way we do Greek. Yes. But I always had a student or two. It seemed like that was like you were. They took Greek Essentials just because they were trying to get a language done, and then they figure out, hey, this isn't too bad. I think that this will click with me. And so that's probably, I've enjoyed teaching all of the different classes I've taught here, but that when you see that light bulb go off in people's heads over a biblical language, which is hard study. I mean, there's no doubt about it that I know that when people are taking, those Greek classes, that it's eating up a significant amount of their study time.
Yeah.
But it's just so fun to see that light bulb go off and for them to realize, hey, I can understand this other language. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, we got reconnected again then when you had been in a ministry and transitioned out of that ministry. And I don't even remember now how you and I talked, but I was looking for somebody to come in and fill a role at student development, and I was VP of student development at the time, and I talked to you about it, and I don't think it was the most exciting opportunity for you at first, but then you warmed up to it. Am I describing that correctly?
So let's back up a little bit. So I was actually when you got a hold of me, I was actually at a pretty low point.
Okay.
Because I just transitioned out of a ministry, and I was actually working at a boar farm, just north in Shelby County.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of a hard time when I just kind of felt like my ministry usefulness was gone. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't have a whole lot to offer the kingdom of God anymore, and just kind of done. And so. We had gone to the Missouri Christian Convention that year, which I think that would have been 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And so we were at the Missouri Christian Convention, and I kept hearing whispers about how, hey, David Fincher is looking for you. I was like, well, I'm right here. Every time I walked past him, he was talking to someone else. I was like, all right, he probably just wanted to catch up. But he later called me. We were on our way back back home after the convention was over, and he called me and he told me about the opportunity, and I was super interested in it because it was really exciting to me that I could work with you and be connected with Central in that way again. And the things he was talking about, they sounded really cool, like working with student development, and just because I know how much value I found in being an RA and how much that grew me, I was excited to kind of be in that same environment again. And so it was a really good fit at the time.
Yeah. Well, and I was super excited. I was really looking for somebody who would come in and take control of and kind of energize discipleship groups and student leadership groups and things of that nature. And you just jumped into it with both feet. And one of the cool things about it, Lucas, that you did was I didn't give you a ton of probably not even the clearest instruction about what I wanted you to do. I just gave you the broad things. This is what I want accomplished, kind of thing. And you jumped into it and you built up. During the course of that time, you put together a handbook for student development. You built some processes. You worked with just about every student group that we've had on campus, and it's been fantastic. But I was also excited to see you re-energized as you entered into this new job. And it's kind of funny because over the course of time you came in and Darryl was your professor and somebody you knew in a classroom. And then in some ways I was, the person who was your leader as you were trying to do camp teams and to some extent being an RA. And then I was your boss, right? I asked you to come in and do that. And now we've transitioned and you've moved over to student services, and I moved down, or church services, I'm sorry. And I moved down from the VP role, and I'm functioning as a full-time faculty and dean of students. So now we're side by side. Now we're colleagues for the first time in a long time. So it's a different place.
It's definitely really weird. Like when the transition happened last month, like it was just kind of like, when you go through change, your body just it doesn't, things feel off.
Right.
And so I got a new office and,
a nice big blue office.
Nice big blue office, right? Which, by the way, I told Roger this, that I think they need to make a policy about us not picking our colors anymore, because I think I ruined it for everyone at this point. But
I like your office. It turned out nice.
It did.
It was a little shocking when I first saw it, but it turned out quite nice.
Once you get some furniture in there, it
toned
the blue
it down
back a little bit.
Yeah.
But just a lot of new, and I think institutionally we had a lot of new stuff happen.
We did.
Like you talked about, you're out of the executive team now, and that's kind of been an answer to prayer for a while.
It is,
and I know you've been wanting to kind of move towards full-time faculty.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you for a second.
So I am super excited about the role I'm in now because they're allowing me to design and build a new class. It's called Christian Formation, and it's a class that is going to be a required class for everybody in every degree program. Yeah. So I'm teaching 3 sections of it this fall, and I just love the idea of helping people understand about what it means to be in a journey towards Jesus, and that the goal is not to be, somehow these checkerboard people that meet all the marks that we're supposed to meet, but the goal is simply to find yourself moving closer and closer in relationship to Christ. And I just love being somebody who can have that conversation with students no matter what their background is. So that's an exciting role. And then I'm also teaching a Discovering the Bible class, as well as the Greek classes that I've been teaching for years and years. So all of those are exciting, just super exciting opportunities for me. I still have my hand in student development. I'm working this year as Dean of Students, which basically means that between Macy Garinger and myself, we'll be handling all of the student discipline issues. But honestly, Lucas, and you've been around this for a long time, we're pretty fortunate. When we talk about student discipline issues around this campus, they're very low key compared to what most what most campuses deal with when it comes to student And really, the first job outside of teaching that I ever had on this campus was being dean of men in student discipline. And I remember when Jason asked me if I wanted to do that, I thought to myself, why would I want to put myself in a position where I got to have all these hard conversations with students who have broken the rules? Why do I want to do that? And then I remembered back over the course of my own life and the men who had talked to me when I had not acted as well as I should have, and how that had shaped my life. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I want to be put in a position to have hard conversations with students? And, it's kind of fun sitting here talking with you about this, because you have been in the room and you have been a participant in some hard conversations that we've had to have with students, right? And we've seen some victories. We've seen some situations that didn't feel like victories when we got done with them, but we've also seen a lot of growth and a lot of change.
Yeah, there's been some wins.
And that's whenever I see students that are graduating after having been through some type of disciplinary situation, I'm just so happy to be involved in the development process. It dawned on me pretty early on. I think when I came to college, my story is a lot different than yours. I didn't even start college until I was 39, and it was a second career for me as I did it. But I really thought that going to Bible college was going to be about education. And it wasn't until I got here and started having to do Christian service and all the other things that I was involved in that I realized education is only a portion of what we do in Bible college. So much of what we do in Bible college is about development. It's about helping people move from where they are to where they're imagining they can be. And that always involves more than education is definitely a part of it, but it involves a lot more than education. There's experiences that they deal in, there's relationships that they build up, there's self-confidence that moves into their lives, and all of those things are just so critical and so important as they do that. So I love being involved. Matter of fact, I'm 63. I'll be 64 this year, and I still feel like I'm developing myself to fill this role.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little different than most people, and I feel like I am really excited about continuing to give and to grow. And I'm excited about where CCCB's at. I think we're on a place where we're on a growth curve, and things are going to happen, and we're expanding how we're delivering education in a lot of different ways, and that's fun and that's exciting. And I'm excited about our new VP, right? We've got a new VP, Emily Burian, who has stepped in now and is the VP of Student Development, or Student Services now we're calling it. And I'm excited about that. And we managed to do that while basically holding the team pretty well together. Was. You don't usually have that high level of transition with the whole team pretty well staying together, and so I'm pretty excited about that as well. So
you talked on development, and that's been one of the big things I've been super passionate about. When you brought me on, you told me I was going to be able to work with discipleship, and so I was super excited to get ready on that, because to me, we have to be really careful as a Bible college when it comes to, we're not just churning Pharisees out.
Right.
Like we want to create students who are super interested in not just knowing the Bible, but living it out.
Right.
And so there's a lot that goes into that. And so we have the Christian service requirement that we ask all of our students to complete. And 30 hours doesn't really seem like a lot, but to someone who's new and just coming from high school, like that's kind of a hefty ask, because there's like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, who's going to get me connected to that?
Right.
And so that's kind of been where, like, I started with that discipleship part, but now in church services, I get to kind of come along those students and help them find those connections and be able to continue to develop, biblical servants is what we would say.
But even more exciting to me about that, Lucas, is that it's a two-pronged deal in what you're doing. It is about getting students connected and excited in the church. Yeah. But the other part of that is you're spending a lot of time talking to churches and saying, hey, this is our next generation of leaders. Don't you want to get connected and excited with them? And I think if there's been a fault in Bible colleges across the nation, it's been in not being able to figure out that piece of where particularly in restoration model churches, I would say, to figure out where that piece is, where the academy and the church fit together, and how that we support one another. I mean, the whole reason the academy exists is to develop leaders that will lead the church. But the church has to then feed the academy, those students. Yeah. And so we've got to both understand the value of each other in order to raise up, as Jesus says, we've got to raise up harvesters. Yeah. Because we're living in a world that in a lot of ways seems to be increasingly darker and darker. Yeah. And I think we both know that the gospel is the good news the world needs. And if we can raise up leaders to be a part of that, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you have a favorite piece of theology. I'm sure it's my favorite is the resurrection. But if I had to have a second, it'd be the priesthood of all believers.
Yeah.
Because what it tells us is that you don't need a priest to go before God. Like, God isn't just working with specific privileged individuals like he did in the Old Testament, right? Everyone can go out and make a kingdom impact. Like, it doesn't matter what you look like, how you're born. And Paul says in Ephesians that the purpose of the church is to equip the saints.
Right.
And so the church becomes the academy in that way, because we're supposed to be helping everyday people figure out, where do I fit in the kingdom of God? The church isn't made of bricks and mortar.
Right.
It's made of people.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm getting the opportunity right now to work with a church that is transitioning away from a denominational to a self-governed mode. And that whole concept to them has been like a lightning bolt. The idea is that we are responsible for being in and developing our relationships with God. It's not about a denomination telling us what to do, and it's not even about a certain minister telling us what to do. It's about us discovering that, helping each other do it, and then we hire people that fill in where we need them to, that have knowledge and skills that we don't have right here, in order to do that. And that's been exciting to see as we go through that. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. So your wife is also ministering in a church. Yeah.
She's a children's minister.
Yeah.
Shalmina Christian Church.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. And let's make sure everybody understands. Tell us about your family.
So we have 2 kids.
Okay.
And it is chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it, but we're just getting.
And your kids are still little.
Yeah, right? I mean, 4. Oliver's 4 and Declan's 2.
Yeah.
Oliver's just about ready to turn 5, so on the 15th. So he's right at the cusp, and we're getting ready to homeschool him.
Okay.
In the fall.
Okay.
And so there's lots of change happening in our household too. As Trisha's pivoted a little bit away from in-office work, and she's going to be able to work from home.
Oh, good.
Several days out of the week to just focus on schooling him well. And her job's pretty conducive to that too. So it's not going to be a huge wrench in the cog of life, if you will. But so we're excited that we have that opportunity.
That's
to do
cool.
That.
That's cool. And that's cool for me too, as I mean, you're one of, I don't know how many students that I've known over the years that met and married at Central, and so then your family seems to be a part of kind of the Central bosom and going on. My youngest daughter graduated from here, and she living with us, or not with us, but in the same town we live in, and she's got two daughters, our granddaughters, and matter of fact, they're here today helping me put books up in my office. So
I don't envy it.
It is fun that what we do is beyond. I don't know. It reaches into our lives in ways that are more than just a 9-to-5 job. It's something that kind of wraps around our entire lives as we go. So I don't think I really introduced you at the beginning, so maybe I should do that, and then maybe Jonathan will be able to cut this in wherever he needs to. But your name's Lucas Reynolds, and you've been here. You said you came in 2015, 14, 15? 2015. So you've had more than 10 years of connection with the college, really, because as a child. And my name's Darryl Ammon, and I came here as a student in 2002 and graduated, and then went on and did a couple of master's degrees, and I'm currently involved in a PhD program. Hopefully I can finish that next year. We'll see how that's going to go. And then I came back and started teaching in 2008. So that's I think this next year will be my 17th year of teaching. So that's a long time that we've been able to do that. It's been a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah. Well, that's 35 minutes.
All right.
You think we ought to keep going? Or
we're out of here.
We're good. All right. See you later.
Central Christian College is literally of the Bible.